Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers of IQRA channel and friends, welcome back. We've had a short break. I'm sure the discussion that I have been having with Imtiaz has been fascinating as far as I know I'm concerned, and I'm sure many of you would have found it extremely interesting and valuable and fascinating as well, just like I have. We could carry on this discussion further, which we will do, and then we'll be touching on some of the other areas of work that Imtiaz has been involved in over many years. And also, just a reminder, if people want to ring in, then we have the numbers that come on your screen. Please feel free to ring and ask, put forward any questions, etc. that you may have. One of the points about this program is not for us who sit here in these chairs in front of these cameras. This is a program, and it's been entitled Real Talk. So the idea behind this Real Talk program is to bring forward issues which are of real concern or interest to the Muslim community in this country and abroad. So we welcome feedback from our viewers. Please feel free to ring in and put forward your suggestions about any particular subjects or issues or topics that you feel the channel should cover. Today we are covering politics and health in a little while. And Imtiaz, as I said, is an inspiring gentleman who has made great contribution to the politics and the fabric of society in Lancashire, particularly in Blackburn area where he comes from. So again, welcome to IQRA channel, and thank you for taking the time to come out. We were talking about the politics and the difference politics can make, and you were talking about how you wanted to make a difference to the area that you live in, the community you live in, to try and improve the lot, as they say in English, for the people you represented. Did you feel that in the time that you served one term on the council, which can sometimes be very long, sometimes can be very short, did you feel that by your presence you were able to make a difference?
Iqbal, as I mentioned, that I believe that politics is a very powerful tool, and it's a very powerful vehicle, and it helps you to move as an individual, as a family, as a community, as a nation from A to B. When I was a councillor, Liberal Democrat councillor for Blackburn Down Borough Council, those 3-4 years, in my opinion, it very enjoyable, the most fruitful years of my life, if I may put it that way. Right. Because people don't realize when you become councillor, when you become member of parliament, when you're elected to House of Lords, or when you're elected to any government positions within the political circle, it's a very influential and very powerful position. You have enormous amount of human and other resources which you can utilize in the most fruitful and meaningful way for the progress of your society. So yes, when I was a councillor, it did help me enormously, because I had a lot of resources, I had a lot of means, a good team, and during those years we have done some fantastic work as far as Blackburn Down Borough is concerned, and the ward I was serving was Sherbrow ward. We did some good work, because it did help me basically.
Because I mean, if you take many other cities and towns and cities in this country, we have quite a lot of Asian, black, minority ethnic councillors. But if you look at some of the structures within the organisation, or the level of services that they offer, have not really changed over the years. And this is one of the criticisms of the local government structure and the politics. And maybe it is because people don't really get engaged in politics. So would you say that for communities and individuals within the communities, if they want to see a difference within their communities, the only way they'll see a difference is if they get really actively engaged in the politics of that particular community? Was that one of the key movers and shakers?
It's a very interesting observation, Iqbal, and I'm glad that you raised this. I think I may get a couple of phone calls, or I may get some heated statements from the public, but let's take it which way it will go. My statement is, I think we do have a problem when it comes to electing right person, and I'm not only talking about political circle, but I think we as a community do have a very big challenge when it comes to selecting and electing right person to do the right job. So it be politics, so it be social organizations, so it be community organizations, or so it be religious organizations. I'm not saying that all the time we do that, but most of the time I think it is a big challenge to select and elect the right person. As far as the councillor is concerned, let me make a very open statement. We live in Britain, which is one of the great democracy. I think the political environment is so nice, so mature, very professional. And I think this is the only country where I would say that you can enjoy politics. In other places, politics can become a subject of great stress, blackmail, and you know, many other negative challenges you have to face. But Britain is a great place to become in politics. Now, when I was elected, I didn't look at myself as ethnic minority councillor. I just looked at myself as a mainstream councillor. And as you say, you know, you have to engage very well with your system, with the ruling party, whether you are in opposition, the cross party. You have to engage very well with the bureaucrats, with the officers, and you got to do your homework so well. So then, rather than officers and bureaucrats dictates you as a councillor, it should be the vice versa. So if you elect.
Remember, I was a bureaucrat for many, many years as an assistant director in a local government, so I know how it works.
Exactly.
And I know how you can manipulate councillors as well.
Exactly. So you got to be on your toes. You got to do your homework very well. So if you elect the right councillor, so it be Tory party, Liberal, Labour, doesn't matter. As long as the councillor has got.
So do you feel that the standard of representation over the years has changed? Has it changed, or is it still the same?
It is changing. When I was here back in 80s, with all respect, I wouldn't like to name personally.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, because you know, I respect that. In terms of the IQRA is a very credible you know, media platform, yourself and the entire system. But I can make this statement that, you know, some of the leaders and some of the councillors could not really communicate in the language which they're supposed to when it comes to serving as a councillor. So there's a problem there, I'm afraid. You know, I mean, if you ask me, Iqbal bhai, to operate that camera or to run this studio, I can't, because I haven't got my academic background, I haven't got my technical, mechanical background. So the field you are in.
Neither could I. If it wasn't for the backroom staff,
we would not have been sitting here.
We'd be absolutely scuppered.
Absolutely.
They're the backbone of this organization.
Yeah, so the point I'm making is, if you are in a politics, you got to know something about politics. Language is very important. The understanding of policy is very important. How the local government work is very important. How the bureaucrat works is very important. How the council works is very important. If you are in a ruling party, how you can actually conduct your business. How you are in opposition, how you can conduct your business. So what I'm saying is, knowledge, wisdom, maturity, and awareness of that particular field is pretty important.
Right.
There's no point of selecting somebody for the sake of, and then you would expect that he or she would change the area or change the course of the community. Very difficult. So not only those who get elected, but I would say that the ownership also lies on the people who actually select and elect their representative. It works both ways.
Well, I agree. I mean, totally agree. But I mean, sometimes party political structures are so closed in a way that they don't allow that opportunity. So you present it with a candidate. 90% of the public may think the candidate is not suitable, but you don't have an option. So you do put that candidate in position, because, like you say, the majority of people in that area may be Labour supporters or Liberal Party supporters or Conservative Party supporters. So they have no choice but to vote for that particular individual, because that particular individual represents the political party they support. Now, whether the individual is competent or not is a different matter. And that is where I think pre-selection is an issue. But you're saying that is changing in your view, is it?
It's slowly changing, because I think young people are coming forward. If you look at Blackburn, if you look at Bolton, I can talk about those towns, up to some extent Preston as well. And what I do hear from other towns like Bartley, Dewsbury, Manchester, that young people are coming forward and they are becoming, you know, member of Labour Party, Tory Party. I don't know how many Liberals. We have the, you know, last choice. But yeah, and they are elected as well now in terms of council, you know, chambers, and we have seen some of the young people in House of Commons as well. And I think they are quite, you know, they are quite articulating, and they are quite mature enough, and they are quite wise in terms of, you know, their representation. So things are slowly changing from first generations to younger generations. But wish that younger generation still become more active and proactive in politics. There are phases, but in my opinion, if you look at the population, not enough representation, what I call the professional political adequate representation, still not there, whether it comes to local council or whether it comes to, you know, House of Commons or House of Lords.
So how do you see the Muslim community moving forward? as a community, putting aside any of the internal differences that it may have, in order to make political gains and political changes to the narrative and the politics of this country? Do you see that as a possible scenario in the future?
Not in the near future. We are in a very, I think in my opinion, socially, culturally, religiously, politically, particularly Muslim community, whether they are living in Britain, whether they are living in India, Pakistan or anywhere else, generally speaking, and I'm not stereotyping, but we know the fact, we are in pretty mess. So to create that community consensus, to bring that community on one platform, it's going to be a bit difficult. It is possible, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time, because if you look at the scenario from local to global, Iqbal Bhai, from local to global, from black one to whether you go to America, China, Japan, or even you go to Mars and Venus, the state of Muslim community, inverted comma, we find it difficult to agree on common issues. There's no one platform, united platform, lack of voices, lack of networking, lack of communication, lack of coordination, and lack of debate, lack of intellectual kind of analysis, evaluation, lack of participation, isolation. These are the issues.
Why is this sort of affecting the Muslim community to the extent that it is, in your view? I mean, other communities have gone through it in the past, but they've then, recognized that there's an issue here, and in order to make a difference, they have to set aside their issues and come together. So what in your view is going to be the key ingredient that could bring about that change? And who can do it? Is it politicians? Is it religious leaders? Is it community leaders? Who do you think are in a position to try and bring about that unity that the community, as I say, the Ummah, really, really needs?
Iqbal Bhai, I can't speak on behalf of you. I can't speak on behalf of your viewers and listeners, but I can speak on behalf of myself.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I have to change.
Your opinion.
I have to change myself. Iqbal Bhai, I have to change myself. I have to empower myself. I have to empower myself educationally. I have to empower myself politically. I have to empower myself socially. I have to empower my family. I have to empower people around me. And I have to set the good model, what I call the role model, so that it may be duplicated, or it may be kind of, or somebody might say, I think politically, religiously, culturally, whatever way, this man or this person is doing good. That's how you create a change. There's no magic stick. There's no shortcut, Iqbal Bhai.
Oh, I agree with you. Totally.
Because I'm not I haven't got any authority to speak in terms of religiously or any other way. But the only thing I know is empowerment, individual empowerment, individual consciousness, and individual awakenness. We got to be conscious that where we are and where we want to go. If I can actually make myself conscious, aware, and empower in all these fields, and if I can put my house in order, hopefully that chain effect will happen.
Do you see that change in the third and fourth generation, the more professional people who are now part of the key fabric of our society, that they've gone away from this biradari politics, for example, to a certain extent? They've also gone away from blindly following a political party and its values and its principles and its rules and regulations. Have you noticed any changes of that effect taking place?
It's a slow change, but I've seen the notice. With the young people, I think they are beginning to realize that there's a cultural practice, there's a tradition, there are traditions, customs, and there's a religion. So far as first and second generation, up to some extent, everything used to come together: the culture, the tradition, the kind of religion. But the new generations are doing their own research, and they have started realizing the difference between what is culture and what is religion. And hopefully that awareness may take us to the next step where, as you said, some good changes may happen in our community.
Inshallah, inshallah. And obviously this is a subject we can carry on with quite a while. But I want to talk about your other area, of expertise and interest. And we've got a call waiting, I've been told. Subhanallah.
Yeah.
Let's take this call then. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Can you tell me your name, brother, and where you from? Where are you calling from?
It's Oscar, and it's Manchester.
Oscar from Manchester. Welcome to IQRA TV.
Hi there. Yeah, I was just listening to the brother there, and obviously I agree with most of what he said. People are not looking at the reality. Reality is prisons are full, percentage-wise, of Muslims. You know,
Yep.
percentage-wise, we out-percentage most other races and religions, Pakistani Muslims or wherever,
Right.
you know, South Asian. Second of all, people are not stupid. I mean, they're going to look at what country you come from. And if that country has been run in such a terrible state, why would they ever think that you, as a people, are capable of doing a better job here? You know, it's just logic. I mean, if those countries were something to be proud of, they would be pushing us to get in and rule and do the job. Obviously, they just look at how we're running things and think, we don't want that over here.
So do you think that whatever is happening back home in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, or parts of the other parts of the world, that is reflected in how people view Muslims in this country as well?
Of course.
Or is there
anyone who says, I mean, if the younger generation want to delude themselves that this is not relevant, we're British, they're kidding themselves. At the end of the day, you are where you come from, effectively. And that is a big reflection on you. Look, people who are British, you go anywhere around the world, and a white British person especially has got so many doors open for them. They have a lot of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they have created a country which advocates respect.
Right.
And they get respect. Our countries advocate dishonesty, backstabbing, and traitors.
And do you feel that
why would our reputation not kind of precede us?
But do you feel that what you've just said about what happens in our country, in back at home, is still viewed that people who grow up, who are born in this country, second, third, fourth generation, may still be of that inclination? Or do you feel that the people who are born, brought up in this country, went to universities, colleges, got professional jobs, may have a different mindset? You don't feel that that has happened?
Yes, they have got a different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, why would look, people are not going to sit there as soon as they see somebody, you're brown, you're Muslim, you got a beard, automatically 80% of their thoughts are already made up about you. You then, let's say you're not an idiot, let's say you are well spoken, understanding, and not the rest of the 80%. People haven't got time to sit there and analyze. As far as you're concerned, you are the same as them until you prove otherwise. You're guilty until you prove that you're a decent person. And we, unfortunately, have made that position. So let's not cry why we're getting treated like this. We know why we're getting treated like this.
I mean, I agree. I agree with you that Islamophobia, and we've seen the evidence that is coming out of the last few months, years.
Well,
and we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago on this program.
Yeah, Islamophobia has got 2 points here. I'm not getting into Islamophobia because that's a political side. I mean, They can't expect to go to another Muslim country, bomb it, and then think, why do they hate us? I mean, that's just their political stupidness.
Right.
Trying to treat Muslims like we're somehow stupid and naive and we don't know what's happening. That's a secondary point. The other point is, what have we done ourselves that is in our hands to make things better? And the fact is, that's where we've absolutely done nothing.
I mean, I think that is a very valid point. And if I don't know whether you watched the program, not last week, but the week before, where we had a former councillor on this program, and that was one of the questions that I asked as to what have we, being in politics, former councillor in Bradford, like you were in Blackburn. I'm not sure about the politics of Blackburn, but what have you done that has changed that mindset that you've just talked about, brother? From there was this preconceived idea, because they're Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, whatever, in their DNA there's corruption, there's negativity. So what have we done to try and change that mindset? And how have we used our position of power, as you say, being a councillor gives you power, for improving the wider community's sort of state of play, if you so to speak?
Yeah.
Do you feel that is not happening still? That I have. Sorry, have we still got the brother on from Manchester? Oh, sorry, we've lost him. I was just asking the question to say, do you feel that? We've lost you somehow. I mean, we're now going to go. We're coming very close to the end of the program. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to work to go to the next level of the discussion that I wanted to have around the health issue,
Yeah.
because that is another huge area that needs to be discussed at some stage. Maybe inshallah one day we'll have to ask you to come back and talk about the the other areas of professional work that you've undertaken. I mean, what we've talked about, I hope you have found it interesting. I hope being here has allowed you to share some of your thoughts and your ideas with a wider audience. I know you do this. I know you do this very regularly in other public platforms where you perform your Gujarati poetry, with 90% of which I don't understand. But Imtiaz Bhai, thank you very much for coming. Brothers, sisters, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed it. Inshallah, we'll see you next week. In the meantime, may Allah look after you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.